Okay. Wow. Now then, Arc 10. We're gonna get to Arc 10. Okay. Heyo Friendos, and welcome to Parahumans/Worm with your host, Berry Goldheart, and our super guest/co-host. We're not sure what title's the most fitting yet, but we like to say super here. It's fun. Fallen from Glory. In this episode, we talk about Arc 10, do some quick coverage of it, and we have a great time. So thank you all for joining us on this journey. Come in and listen to the videos. We're excited to listen to any comments you have, anything at all. Like the video, get us out there so more people who are fans of Worm and Parahumans in general can find us, listen in, and, comment. We're hoping for good discussions and theories and talking about this whole thing. We love it. You want to hear more about it, want to make more friends who are really into it. Thank you all. I'll catch you. Back at you. We're going. I'm gonna get you into chapter 10 right now. Let's go. Friendos. Let's go. Let's get in it. Boat. It's very go. It's a very good time. I'm gonna go.
Okay.
We're sort of blended both there because the Slaughterhouse 9 are mentioned in both. And Tim Medina's talking about it. I think her talking about them specifically is Arc 10. People discovering that they exist is Arc 9. So I think we're more ready to go into Arc 10 proper now.
Okay. So, real quick, I finally get to talk to the audience about this. Holy shit. None of you would be able to believe how hard it was for me to not say anything when our gracious host here named every fucking character in this goddamn book except Aisha. Baby, I was losing.
Except Aisha, and it's so funny because the power is to be ignored and forgotten. And I'm like, holy shit, I could not have, instigated that better if I'd planned for it. I had no idea. It's so fucking funny. I see why you're laughing and, being like, oh, I'm not telling you, because it's so fucking funny. Holy crap. My lord.
You literally said, I'm sure there's someone else out there, but I'm forgetting them. And I think my response was, I couldn't have scripted this. God, I was so funny. God, I was crying laughing so hard. Hopefully you guys out there found that as funny as I did, because
I think I mentioned her in the same episode too. I think I brought her up about something, maybe like Taylor and Brian's relationship, and
yeah, you said her name not even 5 minutes after that. Something completely different.
Jesus, that's so funny. Oh my lord.
I was literally like, I couldn't even. I couldn't. I was losing it.
She it. Yeah, I can't believe I completely forgot about Aisha too. Like the most badonkadonk person in the whole story. And the one I have the most jokes about because of freaking Taylor being like, oh, I know I'm really good Mercedes when I see it, but they got that spoiler on their Mercedes, and I completely forgot about her when this moment came up. It's so ridiculous. Oh my god.
It was poetry in motion is what it was.
It was funny. If I'd thought about her, right? If I'd thought about her, I probably would have made a connection that if she becomes part of the crew, maybe she'd be the getaway driver. Or maybe she'd have some sort of power based off of vehicles or something. Because, Taylor made this comparison to a car about her, so maybe I was stating something for the future. But I didn't even think about her at all, so it's just completely out of my head. When it's the absolute funniest thing.
Yeah, I should be.
Mentally kicking myself for not even bringing her up, but at the same time, it's so funny. It's so funny.
this is the best timeline. Although the timeline where Aisha is like Baby Driver is also sounds pretty good. I'd like to see that timeline too.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, okay. Oh, I do have an important thing for this arc before we get into anything else about it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, everyone should know by now that Rachel is my favorite. And I think there's some
No,
interesting
really?
stuff at play here and implicated by her old mask, actually. So, Bentley, the dog, right? If I remember right, it's like a bulldog, right? Like her mask? Like they match up? Is that
Mm-hmm.
correct?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, fuck yeah. It's so cool. So, I think that Bentley represents something pretty big and has like a big thing going on with them. And I think that the mask that Rachel was wearing, as stupid as I think it is, I think it relates to Bentley and his role and all of the information about it. And the sort of like that this breed of dog sort of represents this aspect for her because of this character. So I think that the new dog, which Rachel is taking on missions and riding, Bentley, is a reference to a person. I think it's a reference to the Reverend Richard Bentley. Spelling is the same. Taylor commands this dog directly, and then she gets in trouble with Bitch for, and then Bitch betrays Taylor atop Bentley, only to later be held down by Taylor and communicated with in the most direct way she's ever been communicated with by Taylor afterwards. So all this stuff is out in the open. It's all communicated. It's there. It's done. There's no more pussyfooting around it and whatnot. And Bentley is the catalyst for all of this communication between those two, and I think this to come forward. So the reason I think that's important, why the name Bentley matters there, and why I think it's reference to Richard Bentley, is because Richard Bentley is considered the founder of modern philology, and specifically like the creator of the new school of Hellenism, which Hellenism's whole point is teaching people viewpoints of Byzantine, Ottoman, and modern Greece, along with philology. So philology itself is the study of language in oral and written historical sources, along with especially the authenticity and determination of meaning behind those sources. Like, that's insane. And I think like it's wow. And that this dog is the one that Rachel is relying upon when she acts upon Taylor the way Taylor had intended to act upon her. And because like she betrays Taylor because Taylor was originally gonna betray them and stuff like that. And then Taylor comes back and forces her down to have things explained to her outright. Everything's thrown on the table for ultimate understanding between these two people. Like, there's so much going on there in this potential, like, connection, and I haven't seen names used willy-nilly in this story. Like, there's always some sort of reasoning or motivation to them or something that they either connect to, rely upon, or bring forth from other things, like even Clock Blocker, which is a joke on cock block, is used there to represent this character and sort of what he's about. And he takes jokes seriously and all this other stuff, so I think the name Bentley is specifically being used here as a catalyst for this idea of communication and all of that. And I think that's why and what it's connecting to. So that's something I really had to get out there because it's a big connection in my head that went, oh, zoom, boom, this makes so much sense. I gotta bring that forward, and someone in the world needs to make a note about this when it comes to the story, and it's gonna be me, dang it. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think it had to be used because that is a deep cut. And if I can be completely honest with you, I 100% believe that was intentional. Because I mean, you're not wrong. Where every name is very specifically chosen. Um, no one has named anything for no reason. Whoever, like Wildbow, names their characters, and sometimes things that aren't characters that have names. The same way I do, right? I simply cannot create a character or like include a proper noun in anything I'm writing without spending at least a minimum of 15 minutes Googling like alternate languages and the origin behind certain phrases and names and stuff. I swear it's like a mental compulsion.
And
so
yeah,
I fully believe that
and if I
that
name
was 100%
something out of the blue and give it a random name, like I, eventually will figure out the meaning, and that becomes more fulfilling of the character as they exist or the object of the place. And if it's a brand new name that hasn't existed before there, I figure out similarities or things it could come from or all this other stuff there and piece it together until I figure out what its meaning is, So, and that's just me, and these are just two different dorks here, let alone someone who just had the will to make something on this level and work on it every week with regular updates all the time and stuff like that. Like, this is Wildbow's who did some incredible, crazy work we think of as crazy and incredible. And, we just told you how we do names and stuff. So, yeah, there's a lot to this. Wow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's a pretty
Woof.
fucking
That was
deep
my.
cut. It's like I
Oh,
would have
yeah.
never seen.
That's
I wouldn't have known that one.
biggest note. Yeah, that was my big cut. Again, I used to do a lot of apocrypha, so there's a lot of weird stuff that I know and learned about while on that journey and doing all of that stuff. So, I could tell you the Mayan version of the Great Deluge story. Now I don't remember enough of it to properly tell it, but I have found a version of it in my almost children's book format, and got a hold of that and been like, yep, this will bring it up. Bam. If I ever want to actually tell that story, I have this basic version to tell people. So, stuff like that. There's so much stuff. But if you go on a journey to go learn something, learn all these other things around it that you find, you'll always have stuff. Anyways, but that was my sort of big eureka moment with this section of story. It's a bunch of other really interesting stuff going on in this section. And then there's stuff that just feels like, yes, this is how it would be. And, I've seen this sort of situation. Again, we're seeing Shadow Stalker's perspective in chapter 9. It was very much yeah, that's just Anchorage. Oh, it sounds kind of like my mom telling how sort of things were when she was younger and stuff. And going out doing things and whatnot. But again, she was more lethal than even Shadow Stalker. But that was the time. Anyways, stuff like that. So we go through all this stuff, and then seeing Regent possess Shadow Stalker, and then it's dropping the possession air quotes while not actually dropping it, and going out and setting up this horrible, fucked up readiness for suicide, and then just not finalizing it. That plus the finalizing it would be yeah, these are the types of things I've seen people do while I lived in Anchorage to other people for less shit than what Shadow Stalker did. Everyone was always on that level with each other. If they had that power, they'd have made her stab her mother, carve her open, and put the baby brother inside of there and then kill him inside of her or something, and then kill herself. Something like that. That's the kind of shit people have done who were around me. So, this is just they're getting to where I sort of came from. And these people are really nice people. They don't deserve to be in Anchorage, but that's sort of what their place is becoming and how they're getting themselves, and in the case of Regent, getting themselves back to being. You see, he did that kind of stuff before, and he's use people up. I hit several times and all these other things different ways. So it's very interesting and engaging to learn about these people and what they've done, how they behave. But again, it just all of that side of things makes you feel like that's the kind of people I know. And for a lot of people, I think reading this and stuff here, this is their first introduction to those sorts of thought processes and stuff. And it's still kind compared to what I'm used to. Again, like, the people I was around should not have superpowers. No, you should not give it to them. Because they'd be much worse than the guys that you're seeing in this thing who are bad. Yeah. So,
yeah.
that was a whole thing. I was very glad Taylor was willing to go there for it, but of course she didn't know about the extra stuff Regent was doing after what they did with her. And it's sort of funny, because I did say, as a potential person to join the Undersiders, that, Shadowstalker might join, and I gave some weird, reasons why. And it's funny, because she didn't want to kill them the entire time she was there, But she was being directly controlled. Cat, keep yourself calm. Quit trying to eat things that are made of metal. Yeah, it's, she was, wanting to be free of limits on that, but forced to be on their team throughout that, and that was pretty great. Like, I loved that Regent was using her as a plaything for this. Pew pew pew. It was kind of cathartic in a way, and it was super fun. I really dig it. And I love that afterwards, after all this shit, she's like, wait, the whole reason you're mad at me is because of, like, the shit I said to Gru and that I tried to kill him, like, once or twice? Like, that's it? She has no idea about the Taylor situation. And what's funny is people from Anchorage wouldn't go that far just for that little bit of shit. So it's funny to me, and that she came to, like, a realistic, type of reasoning behind why it's based off the kind of people that I know. So that's funny to me. I get there's layers to that I love. That other people ain't gonna get. So that's fun.
Yeah. Normally, right, I would like, when talking about this scene, right, or like this set of scenes, I would ask I'd ask people kind of what they thought about the morality of what Regent did, but with you, I knew I didn't have to ask. That I wasn't even going to bother.
Yeah.
So
the morality is not quite far enough. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, so.
Yeah, like, you should have done it. The hell, man.
Yeah.
But that's where I'm from.
Yes, yeah.
So I'm very happy, though, with characters who have morality and stop themselves. I think it's great. I wish Anchorage was more that way. I wish where I came from, the people I knew were more kind like these people who we're seeing. And
yeah,
I want the world to move that direction, to be better people. That's what we should be doing.
I think it's pretty well implied here that, like, Regent absolutely would have followed through with this, not even all that long ago, but watching Taylor and learning from Taylor and coming to respect and like Taylor, he knew that she would be pissed off at him if he did that. And was like, I'll let you go, but only because the person you actually hurt that I care about would be the one to let you go. And I'm going to respect her wishes over my own. But you best know that if you cross me, we're going to have a very different conversation next time.
Yeah.
It's kind of how that read to me, personally.
And, like, and I feel like, Taylor has already forgiven Shadowstalker. Basically, she was already like, this is so mean. We shouldn't be doing this to Shadowstalker just for using her to go do this thing, which, honestly, isn't even that far. Yeah,
and
like,
all the people around her are like,
it's not you're going to do this and then skin her and sell her to pieces. No, nothing.
Yeah.
Well, like, those pieces prey. Yeah,
they're like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah.
you forget what she did to you?
So
She's like, no. They're like, man,
yeah,
you are
yeah.
way too nice.
Yeah. You forget she tried to kill me too. Like, come on, like, what are you talking about? It is, yeah.
Yeah.
So it's really interesting because like Gru is super duper kind. He won't even lie outside of being a villain, and Rachel is like super kind hearted and, isn't marking people who she has every right on earth to mark, and Taylor should be slaughtering motherfuckers, but is purposely doing everything in her power not to assassinate everybody she meets. And Regent's there
Yeah.
like, these guys are the crazy evangelists, But at the same time, they're right. The world is kind of better if we don't do this stuff. So I guess I'll do that. I guess I'll respect their stuff and sort of be that way. It's different than where I'm from, but it's kind of good in its own way. And this is him sort of acting on that. Like he's learned from all of these people, and he's
Yeah.
instigating his growth in morality here. And while still stating that he is who he is and he's from where he's from. He can go much further than this. And you're lucking out because,
You caught him on a good
man,
day.
you're lucking out here. Like you insulted my friend. You did something to them. And she just thinks it's about like trying to kill Gru a couple times and maybe saying some mean things to him. So thinking about that, she, if that's what she thinks triggered that, she would, nah, I fucked with that guy. But hey guys, we got Regent here and stuff. We gotta do something about him. She'd be like, you know what? Maybe I won't do this one, guys. You got it. Yeah. Well, I'll stay back, defend the base. You need something on the computers, right? Yeah, it'll be me this time. You get. But fuck that. Either that or she's gonna go full bore, but I gotta kill that guy.
I can finally. Another thing
I love
I
that
can
she's
say here.
lethal and she's killed people before. That's nice. I feel very like, yay, finding someone who gets it, But yeah, this is very much more relatable to me.
Right. So we've finally reached the part of the story where I can talk about my other favorite character. So
yes, Aisha, they're here.
Yeah.
They're awesome. I love them. They're so fun. How they fill the dynamic void we had in the group.
Yeah. So Aisha brings like the proper teenager to this group of teenagers. Like she's the first character in the group who feels like they're still growing up. And
I feel like someone who wasn't forced into growing up too fast, and it's kind of great. I love it. Like, this is someone who you would meet at an arcade, I love it. It's so fun.
Yeah, or maybe someone who, despite the fact that they grew up in an environment that's like sucks so bad, chose to continue to be that person, right? Because I mean, from what we know of like her upbringing,
Well, hell, they're like, I may have missed my childhood, but I'm gonna get it now. Well, I still can.
Yeah, exactly. That's kind of how I think of her.
It's great.
Yeah, no, I love her. She's great, and like that's why it's like
I love her vibes.
At the end of the day,
I love the try to deal with boredom. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah,
because no one else is really trying to deal with boredom. They just sort of live through it. Like Regent just plays games when he has downtime because he can, or whatever. He tries to feel something through these experiences. Are like when he possesses people because he like half feels it and stuff. Anyway, so all that sort of thing. And, Taylor's just sort of there examining things and learning and stuff. But she's there like, man, I'm fucking bored. I want to do something. Yeah, so we finally have a wider spectrum of this behavior set around the concept of things take time. Cat, what are you doing? Oh, okay. I'm done with that. Sorry. There's a lot of metal things around. He'd been trying to eat metal, so, you know, I'm just like, don't do that.
Yeah. Yeah, she definitely feels like
Okay, anyways. Yeah. Back to what we're doing.
the most like teenagery.
Oh
Like,
yeah, I
definitely the most active.
I love seeing her in the fights too. Like she's like, yo, grab big gun, use big gun. But like she thinks about when and where to use it, like realistically, not like Kid Win who was like, everything seems chill, big gun. She's like, we need an emergency escape. Say we have big gun with limited shot. Let's try it on that. You know, obviously this is the puzzle piece in the video game. Let's put these two together. You know, like she's having fun, but in intelligent ways. You know, like she's using her brain. Like if you want to play a game and beat the level, she's thinking about it like that. As opposed to like Kid Win who doesn't understand what genre of game he's playing. You know? Or Regent who's just there to collect gold and be done. She's playing through the level and having fun with the game as she's going. It's pretty cool. I dig it.
Yeah.
So yeah, and the power she has, that's interesting to see actualized in writing. I love it. It's kind of strange.
It is. Yeah. And it also, if you pay attention, will Wildbow does a amazing job of writing her power into the narrative. Where like you'll be reading and reading and reading, and then like you'll remember that Imp is there because like he did such a good job writing around the fact that no one remembers that she's there. It's really jarring at times, but in a great way. We're like, oh shit, how the fuck did I forget? And it happens over and over again. It happens it's so well done that almost everybody I've talked to about the story who's actually completed it
is
when I talk about Imp, people go, who?
Wildbow is playing some fun mechanics that people we call it utilize most in gaming, and he's implemented them here in a really artistic way with writing. So we have on the team Taylor, we have on the team Lisa, we have on the team Regent, we have on the team Brian, right? What's that give us? 4 people. Now, in the science of gaming, when we keep a track of how many players on a team, etc., how many can people realistically track, once you hit 4, you can start forgetting about or misplacing a teammate. If you have 3, it's never going to happen. You'll always know where everyone is. Once you have 4, you start to lose some. It can get kind of confusing. And when you amp that up to 5, well, now you're at the point where someone can be completely forgotten. You know, you could entirely forget about this side of teammates. So when people are playing with like 18 people, they split up into smaller groups of about 4 to keep track of each other. So we're right there past the moment of, you know, where we can lose track. And it's a really fun place to have it and the amount of characters. And he uses it very effectively because we're saying, so what's going on with Gru? What's going on with Tattletale? What's going on with Skitter? You know, what's going on with Regent? And then when we do get it back around to Imp, you know, we've been through all these other perspectives, all these other people, and seen them interact with each other, reminding us about each of the other ones, except for Imp. So it's kind of like a surprise when Imp pops back up again. And it's super fun. I'm digging it. It's a really interesting examination of how to use, you know, I'm coming from like a gaming sphere here, so I'm seeing this gaming information and strategy of setting up players and play groups and stuff applied to a book. I think it's fascinating. You know, like Wildbow probably came from a different perspective, but even if they did, they managed to do this thing that I can relate to with this set of information. And it's just jaw-dropping to see. Amazing.
Yeah, so easy to forget someone that you might actually forget someone. I can't help but notice that your count forgot that
Yeah.
Rachel was even there.
Fuck! Yeah! Holy shit! I did! You know, wow!
I was just like,
But who's my favorite, by the way? Look at that! I'm proving the science!
when
Holy crap!
I'm like,
So we're already at
when are they gonna
5!
mention this?
And then we go to 6. Pop, 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 pop. Yeah! Wow! And then, so bitch is there, and so are her dogs, like Bentley and whatnot. So, but we are well past the 4. Well, 4, 5, and 60. I forgot my favorite character. Wow. Well, I mean, that's like people forgetting about Aragorn when reading Lord of the Rings. You know, like, oh, you're too busy talking about Legolas, you forgot your favorite is there. Aragorn, man. What are you doing? Or whatever. Yeah, so, wow.
Oh man, this will
Okay.
never stop being
Proving the
a fucking
science that I'm
entertainment.
talking about. Let's go.
Case
So fun. I
meat
love it.
point. Um,
Yeah.
God, that was
Oh,
funny.
you see
Yeah.
point exactly, yes. Oh my goodness, this is beautiful.
Yeah. At the end of the day, people ask me who my favorite
Yes.
character is
I
in
love
the
it.
story. I have a hard time choosing between Tattletale and him. I love them both to death. And especially because like they both go through a lot of growth, and at the end of the book, they're very different people than they are at the start. And I like the reason why they're my favorite characters because I liked them when I met them, I liked them as I watched them grow and change, and I liked them at the end. And just like their whole thing, I'm like, man, that was awesome. It was awesome from start to
And
finish, and I enjoyed the whole thing. Other characters, like I have personal like reasons to not like certain bits and pieces, not because of any narrative reason, but just because of I just mean like as people, right? Not as characters, but as
I
people. Um,
yeah, I I feel I should mention
and
something here about Taylor. So
yeah,
there's that point when Taylor met Aisha where she was like, Aisha is a Mercedes with a spoiler on. I don't like my Mercedes with a spoiler on. And at first, that's sort of this like, I just saying that to cover the fact you'd be totally lesbian for her if she were like into you. But
mm-hmm.
when we see Imp dress up as Imp, Taylor isn't thirsting for her at all. So I think that what she's saying there is more true than, I was going to give her at the moment. I think that if Aisha were set up to be like a whatever Taylor's into, like I don't know, like a maid dress or whatever, she'd be down bad. Like you could not stop her from being like lesbo, and she'd be like, "Damn, how did this happen? I'm so straight. What the fuck?" But because Imp is dressing themselves up in this like monster mask and these other things and stuff there and whatnot, Taylor's able to think past that and focus when she does think about her, thinking about her as a person and her relation things instead of just how fucking hot she is. So I think that was more truth out of Taylor than even Taylor realized at the time. And I think she is straight. I've always thought that, by the way. But if she were gonna be gay, it would be for Aisha. you know. Yeah. So that's really neat. Like we don't see anything about her focusing on Aisha's figure or anything when thinking about her while she's dressed up this way. Whereas that was her only thoughts the last time we only saw Aisha as Aisha. So, yeah. Then it is a character note because when we saw Flechette thinking about Shadowstalker and even Parian, she was thinking about their figure and their shape and stuff like that. And we know that Flechette was getting comfort in seeing beautiful feminine forms. So we know this is definitely a mental thing of what they're focused on the body, not a writer thing. Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, she's Flechette's gay as fuck. Um, but yeah.
Oh yeah.
The
100%. Like I can tell.
No, I mean like soon she starts dating like another like the female character, like soon.
Good. 'Cause
but
that should be what she's into. Like, she really seems it.
yeah. So the way I've kind of Taylor is an interesting character, especially when it comes to this kind of thing, because she's so weird, right? Or I mean, like her thought process is so different, right? And I think a lot of that comes from the fact that she's the protagonist of a book, right? And you have to get prose across at some point. Um, so I think that when we see Taylor describing people in her own mind, it's a slightly exaggerated form of what she would probably have otherwise been thinking if she wasn't a character who's like narrating a story, because like we have to get an accurate picture of them, right? No one's like, no one, I should say, few people look at somebody and in their mind categorize every like parts, like categorize them the way Taylor does, right? They don't see somebody go, all right, well they've got like long, beautiful red hair. Their face is like is very symmetrical. Their skin is smooth. Their teeth are straight. Very attractive generally. They've got nice blue eyes. No one really thinks like that. Um, but the author does a good job of like making the descriptions different, right? It's not just listing their features. It's comparing them to things, and that lends itself well to mixing it up, so you don't just feel like you're reading brown hair, red hair, green hair, blue hair, right? And
I don't know.
fucking
When
like the same shit over and over again.
when I'm encountering it with characters and stuff here, if I believe the writer is competent, I believe that they've come up with reasonings for that. Like we've seen that with Taylor, for example. She's been forced into introversion, whether or not she would like to be introverted. And I think that's
Yeah.
led to more reading and all these other things. So she might be mentally describing things via prose from books instead of, because that's how she's engineered her brain to think, as opposed to, via what a normal thought process that's gotten to see lots of different experiences, and then develop their own way would have come up with. So I feel like that might be part of her character, even though from the meta level, it is the writer being like, I need prose, damn it. I can't just say she a big booty bitch with huge titties. I gotta say, like, something to get it across, though, because it's important to the character and the way that the world perceives them. But how do I say it without, sounding like a rap guy with no skill? Mercedes with a spoiler. Anyways, so it's fun and interesting. That I love how it's come across. It's given me things to laugh at. It's been beautiful. It's been fun. But I like to think that meta stuff leaking in, there's attitude by throwing pieces on and assuming more about the character being that way too. It's fun.
Yeah, I
know you got more to say. Yeah, go.
Another. Yeah, no. Another thing is that, there's a very large subsect of readers who believe wholeheartedly that Taylor's into chicks just based on the way she describes them, and I understand why they think that, and
especially if they're men. Like a lot of men don't understand that. Many women, when they encounter a very beautiful woman, a lot of them have this feeling that hits somewhere. They're not sure if they want to be them or they want to do them. That's like a feeling that happens moreover, because usually when a man sees a man that they would love to be, who hits those points, they don't go, man, I'd love to, bang that dude. That's not one of the thoughts that comes into their mind there. But with women, I think it might have something to do with society and the way it's built. That is a more normal thought, at least in the West. So, if, maybe it's a cultural thing, I don't know, but that is a normal thought. Even like people like Jenna Marbles and stuff, or other famous people have mentioned that they've had that thought process. So I just think it's a bit of that, which, straight people can have, but why? I don't know. I'm not the socio-scientist.
Yeah. The way I like to rationalize it and I kind of explain it as something like Taylor's thought process is just different. And if you really want to read that deep into it, I think she might be something that's a little bit more out there. Um, like her sexuality seems to be complex. There's like a lot kind of going on there, and I don't really think that she fits into any one box. I think she's kind of her own thing. Um,
Yeah.
and
Well,
because
here's this
it's
thing I
like,
want to state, since we're going to talk about sexuality a bit. Let's have some fun with it. So, I think most people do not fit any societal normative things when it comes to any aspect of their mentality whatsoever. But we have created words to try to describe things, to simplify things, to make them make sense. And when it comes to sexuality, we have done this and we've killed everyone who thought a certain way, tried to eradicate the stuff, put new ideas in it, kept doing this shit over and over again with it. And by doing that, we've gotten rid of understanding of mental processes that were understood for thousands of years. Like you talk to a Native American, there's all these different tribes out there, all these different things which are, actually bands, but they're called tribes because Americans are stupid. Anyways, they're bands. So all these different bands, there's different peoples and groups among them have different views. And one thing we see is if someone is gay, the assumption is that their life journey is to become a complete person, that they're missing a half. And so they need to go and gather more information. The expectation when you meet a gay among them is that they're going to ask questions. They want to develop all this knowledge so that they can become as close to whole as possible. So when they meet their other half, whatever they're missing, they can combine together and become a full, actualized person who is more than the sum of their parts, who is more of a person than any other person around. And when it came to bisexuals, the common thought was, oh, you have both journeys. So you have the journey of a man and a journey of a woman. You have to take both. So you're going to have the most challenges presented to you. If I'm going to teach you how to do something, I'm going to challenge you first. And you have to go through this challenge of whatever it is, mental or physical thing beforehand, and then I'll teach you the thing, and I'll spend more time teaching it to you, because you're going to have to face even harder challenges, because you're doing both the journey of a man and a woman. And that means when you're older, you will have the knowledge of both a man and a woman. And whenever you approach any situation, you will approach it as if two people. So there's expectations that you're going to be more aware, you're going to be more perceptive, but that you need to be challenged more, because if you aren't, it would be like degrading two people and putting them down instead of, raising one person up. So you have to challenge someone like that so they grow, because it's multiple people who are at a higher level than what your expansion. So it's very interesting, these different common threads and thoughts there in cultures who weren't, devastated by crazy plague, after societal revolution, after this, after that, So very interesting. A lot of different cultures around the world have very different ideas about sexuality, and they go far beyond just, binary thoughts on it. And things so well, some people are only physically turned on and stuff by, you know, mental behaviors enacted by others. And so there's different journeys and things like that associated with that. And we've only just started to get that back, but the people who brought it to the forefront did it in a dumb way. So I think Taylor is definitely more complicated and is a straight up, she's straight. But I wouldn't call her bi either. Although you like that. So
I mean, we both had a mutual friend who was pansexual for many years.
I would always make chair jokes. Yeah.
Yeah. No, we had fun. Definitely just messing with each other because we're all a little weird. Um, but yeah, no, I just think that like if if you're like if you read into it and you're thinking to yourself, man, oh, she's definitely gay. I'm like, just give her like her own space. Just let her be her. Don't think about it that hard.
Yeah.
Just take what who she is for who she is, and then just kind of leave the rest. Get a little complex
Look,
with it.
someone who's just
You can
gay
have your own
isn't
headspace.
gonna
Get
thirst that bad
complicated.
over a man.
I mean,
And someone who's just simply straight isn't gonna thirst that bad over a woman. So I'm just saying, like,
exactly.
she's her own space and it leans one direction.
Yeah,
It's just
I've
fine.
talked to.
Like, look, if you see something you consider the perfectly sexualized form of a male or a female and you're not a little aroused, I think that means that you actually don't appreciate that. That's just my
Yeah, that
thought
says more
on
about
that,
you.
though. But whatever. Yeah.
Speaking, I got a picture to send you later. But anyway,
Everything?
I've talked to like a significant number of women at this point about like these things, and yeah, it is a pretty true statement that at least basically every woman I've talked to about this kind of thing has mentioned that it is essentially impossible to get through life without seeing a handful of women that like you know that get them going, right? And I don't know, it's just I think people should just stop thinking about it so hard and then just and start when it because there are two parts of life, right? There are things that you should think about and analyze and take a logical approach. I think there are things where you should shut your goddamn brain off. And when it comes to things like, sexuality and love, I think you should just shut your goddamn brain off and not think about it too hard, right? When it comes to relationships, that's when you should start thinking, right? That's when you need to be careful, and not
Yeah.
and communicate properly and not like go about it stupid, right? But when it comes to like when you just come across something like that, just don't analyze it into the ground. Just let yourself feel it. That's all. Um,
Yeah. If you want to analyze it, the analyzation should be, is that morally acceptable to think about or do or not? And if it's not, you go, okay, this thought isn't mine, then throw it to the side. If it is in the range of sort of, then you can be like, okay, I'll hold on that in the back of my mind, think about it more later. Like there's thoughts like that, because you have thoughts like that when it comes to all things. Like you might be in the kitchen and you think, I take the knife, stab my hand. And it's like, that's not my thought. That's something crazy and stupid. Chuck it out. But you might get the thought of like, stab the chicken. Oh no, it's actually cut the chicken. Whatever. Like thoughts happen. Sometimes they're incorrect or wrong, or just your brain being like, oh, there's a possible connection. Let's pop that in there, see if it's worth anything. And that includes sexuality
yeah.
too. Like, you don't know. Is it something that's considerable? Like, oh, maybe I'll slice the chicken thin. That thought can go into your brain and stay, being like, hey, is that person attractive? Maybe. Okay, let's pop it in there. Whatever. It's way complicated. We could do a whole 2-hour, 3-hour thing on that subject alone. We're not gonna.
Oh yeah.
Not now.
But just to wrap that up, that is the main difference between humans and AI right now. Is that when humans have weird intrusive thoughts like that don't make sense and aren't theirs, they can make a judgment call to throw them out. AI will just regurgitate that to you. Speaking of AI, what do you think about Dragon? Segways.
Oh yeah. I love Miku-san. Miku-san is great. No. I'm very happy to have Dragon
Yeah.
be our first faux parahuman. Because I've
Yeah.
talked about the concept of a faux parahuman And it's
Mm-hmm.
so exciting that it's
I remember
through
it very
her.
clearly.
And oh
Uh,
yeah, I was super excited for it and everything. And what I think is very interesting is this is also our first kindred character, which is very nice to see. It's not how I was expecting our first faux parahuman to be, but at the same time, it's exciting and very interesting. So for those who don't understand the concept of kindred, I'll just quickly explain it real quick. It's been hijacked by vampires for some fucking reason. I don't know why. Well, there's a few prophecy things or whatever that are ancient that relate to that crap, but who gives a shit? That's stupid. That's not what kindred means. So,
man, we're getting
kindred,
deep into the weeds today.
to summarize the concept for it, people. Oh, yeah. Kindred, to summarize it for the people like that, are a thing that has changed, and usually it has changed to become either as man or as assistant to man. So basically, if say a demon, and that name means thing that exists to be anti-human. Like it only exists for the purpose of like raping babies to death. That's what demon is. It means anti-man. Like it is anti anything and everything humanity. So you have a demon and it converts to like Christianity or something. It says, fuck it, I'm going to help people and I'm going to promote everyone being good to each other and listen to the Sermon on the Mount. Be kind to your neighbor. Fuck it. No more bad stuff, you know? Like what happened with Krampus. You know, that is a kindred because it has changed to become something that's pro and helpful to man. That's a kindred. However, there are other things that are kindred as well. A dog that gets the intelligence of a man has been trained like a person and becomes as a person and understands the world through a human lens would also be a kindred. Ha, right? That's wild. The concept of kindred is a very complex one that is about a change in spirit and stuff like that. So you could actually build something that, I built a doll. And then the doll develops a spirit. And that spirit winds up being helpful and wanting to promote and help people or you and everything like that. And that can become a kindred. I mean, it's actually promoting good things and trying to be as a person. Or even like a naga being like, well, I want to become a human, and it becomes a human. It went through the route of becoming a kindred and then switched up to becoming a man. Like, that is a route it can go down. So the concept of kindred is very complicated, very interesting, all over the world, and all over it, in all these different religions and all these different places, even outside of the concept of religion. It exists. It's a very interesting, unique facet that is amazing. If some places it's the route to becoming a human soul, and other places it's alternative. Like with foxes in like Japan, they can go through this route to become this special spirit, and that can become a human later, like truly become a human if they do certain things, or whatever. And whatever. Kindred is a complicated, interesting aspect. And our first character in this book that represents the concept is Dragon. And their whole battle, their internal battle with themselves, is whether it's better to be as human when it comes to helping humanity, or whether it's better to transcend human limits to help humanity. Which is very interesting. Like, I love that to be their struggle. Because like they're like, my master set this stuff, the person who made me set things up this way, so that I have to have one perspective, but they also set up so I can't have children. So there's a positive to it because it means I'm viewing things in the manner of which humans do. So I don't go and separate myself from humanity and decide maybe they're not worth it. But at the same time, I can't have a kid. I can't make something else as me. And then on the opposite end, they're like, if I weren't like a human, if I were just this big systematic machine thing, I could be in more places at once. I could help so many more people. And well, but would I? And the would I part is more suggested rather than directly stated, with them talking about things and thinking things through in a very mechanical manner. And even with their talk with Colin, who is, arms master. Like, they're like, could I have a relationship with this person? What if I were human, Is it wrong that I'm being with them like this and they don't know what I am and stuff? Da, 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 da. And then their own immoral parts were like, I'm building sort of like these, they're robots, but they're made out of like flesh and whatnot a bit to connect to these other things. Is that okay? That's what I've been using. Is that the way forward? I don't know. Like, this is a thing I'm experimenting with and trying to figure out. And all these things. She's a very complex, unique character who represents a very interesting part of the concept of kindred. And I love it. I love it so much. And I can make jokes from it too. I can be like, ha ha ha, Arms Master's best friend is fucking Miku. Ha ha. There's so much going on here. It's great. I love it. 20 out of 10.
Awesome. Yeah, I figured you'd really like this part, this reveal. Because it just felt very you, the dragon just in general, and with the way you were talking about certain things up to this point, I'm like, man, they're really gonna get a kick out of the dragon thing.
Oh, I am. Just a big kick. I am really enjoying that.
When it comes to, I at the end of the book, when it comes to talking about favorite characters, and Lisa and Aisha are always like the two that I have a hard time choosing between. But after those two, if you're like, oh, what's your next favorite? I'm like, I'd have a hard time choosing between Rachel and Dragon. Like, they're like my next two.
Oh yeah,
Dragon is just
dude,
so fucking awesome.
they're like my top two right now. Is Rachel and a dragon. Like, Dragon's very interesting, and even them trying to take care of Lung in the prison, is really unique. They're like, man, he hasn't been able to make friends and stuff. I'm so worried about him and stuff. I want him to do well, but at least he's got this one, thing going on with, I think his name's Marquis.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
I wonder if he'll be important later.
I think that Marquis is. I think he might be, because I don't know his description well enough yet. I've only seen him the one time. And did they really describe him?
No.
Okay.
And there's a reason for that.
No, not really. Okay, because I think he might be Amy's dad.
Jesus Christ.
So
I couldn't
that's my thought on Marquis.
What the fuck?
Yeah, because it's been set up as a big deal.
Keeping to myself.
And
Jesus.
He's talking to Lung and trying to get information about Brockton Bay and what's going on. So Marquis feels like he's looking for someone when he's doing that, and it would make most sense if he's looking for someone to inherit what he was doing. So to me, it makes sense, that it would be his daughter or, his child. And Amy's was a criminal who he knows something happened to. And then she was basically kidnapped by this group of heroes to be their thing. And I'm like, someone who's in that place is someone you need a group of heroes to take out, and they can't raise their child because their child didn't do the crime, so they're not going with them to that place. So when that place came up, that's one of the things I was looking for was, is anyone here like the potential of Amy's parentage, whether they're father or mother, and Marquis really hit me in the way he's talking and the way he's looking through Lung and keeping this relationship up, because he's not there with some other people, he's not there with someone from this other city or another city, then they're not having a big different city meetup. It's just him and Lung. So why? And it made the most sense to me that he's interested in something about that city. And, when you're not going to be able to go there anymore, what is it you're hoping for? Oh, is my criminal gang doing well? No. You don't really care about that because now you have a new criminal gang. But, Lung lost his ability to have kids. So for me, the thought there of this place being related to children and stuff made sense. Because he can't have them, and he's there. you know, and all this. And Bakuda was all about creation, and she was sent there. So we have all these fun things, going on with this and the concept of that. So for Amy's parent to be there would make sense to me. And then we see him, and he's looking and trying to pull his information out while still being friendly. It made sense that he's looking for his kid, and that his kid is Amy, because she's the biggest one who, like, the plot line is like, we don't know about where they came from, but we know that they were related to a criminal. Because I would also be interesting if their kid was Noelle or Dina, and that they're looking for that. But there's nothing to say Noelle was ever in Brockton Bay before this. And Dina, we have another connection to a male parent, so of course it wouldn't be them. So naturally it fell on, this is Amy's dad. And that's my assumption, that's my theory. And I really believe, because he has a name too, like Marquis, which, is very used when it comes to, like, anyone sort of like vampiric, or where they mess with, like, blood or one's body in different ways. Like, the name keeps popping up with those kinds of characters. So for me, it was like, well, Amy messes with your body and your brain and all that stuff. She's like, does that. So it would make sense that someone with this name has a similar power thing, so I'm going to connect them. There's a lot of, like, layers that connected those two for me, and I think I got it there. And if I'm not right, I would be annoyed, because I'm like, that seems so perfect. Well, but at the same time,
audience,
I don't know. But that's my assumption.
I want you to, audience out there, I want you to take
you
note.
did say, like, Jesus Christ, so I'm assuming I'm right,
Listen.
but, don't tell me. I will find out as we go. But I think I'm more right with that. I heard of Jesus Christ, and I'm like, yeah, it probably means I'm right.
It really ripped that one straight from the hip to give me no lead up. But yeah, audience, I want you to take note. This is the power of active reading and paying attention. That's holy fuck, man! I need to.
Yeah. This is the power of paratext. Is that what you said the other day? What is paratext, by the way? I want to know what that means. I'm gonna make sure you get the idea what's paratext.
I said active reading and paying attention.
There you go. Yeah. I read and pay attention. Yeah. And, paying attention to all those things like paratext and subtext and all that other stuff there, it does a lot. And if you don't know what's up, what, like, those different things are, go look them up. Like, that'll help you a lot. But yeah, it's very fun. I felt that this is sort of like been the last few arcs have been like figuring out who's connected to who. And that would have been fun for me.
Man, I do not have enough vodka left.
Yeah, the actual fight with Dragon was pretty interesting, because it had to do with the machinery and all that other stuff, and the way people figured out that, oh, something's wrong with Shadowstalker and stuff, boom, and deal with, like, fucking following protocol. Like, that was nice, and the reason you have those, and, like, you say something like that, like, oh, I'll say something specific, like, hey, George, and, if they don't say, fuck you, Clooney, back, then, I know they're not them. But it's a thing we say to each other regularly. So they pull like how to move and figure out, oh, shit's wrong. And it's great. I love it. Like, it seems like when they actually understand what they're doing, like, they can actually do stuff. Oh, my goodness. Instead of, being like, I don't know what to do. Swag, I'll go get bitten by dogs all day. Like, woof.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This was great.
The
fighting was good. I love it. Oh, wait. I have to mention something about Rachel's betrayal in there. Like, she's put down the names of Judas and Brutus and everything in previous chapter onto stone. And in this chapter, she sees Taylor, who was the great betrayer, who she was protecting all this time, take over her position and command the dog against him when she, sacrificed her last dogs to help this person and everything, and only for them betrayed, all this stuff there. There's some points about it. So then she decides, in this fight, this is where she'll betray Taylor, she uses her last, memory, the thing they're building up within her of these people who died to her, and the sort of things they represent, the great betrayals, Judas and Brutus and whatnot, and what their names mean, and focus it in to betray this traitor, and finish them off so the traitor is gone and she's done with the concept of the traitor completely. It'll finally be out of her, then they're done. Their sacrifice is gone because she's gone and everything, and it'll all be over. And it is all over, but not because she does this final act of betrayal that symbolizes them and gets them out of her, but because of her connection to Bentley and knowledge and speaking, and Taylor coming up and speaking with her on her level and getting it all down. So there's a lot of layers there. Anyone reading this should be checking out different routes and layers and things on this whole situation. There's so much going on. It's great. And connects a bunch of different themes together. Wow, absolutely amazing. 20 out of 10. Also, being dragon is super cool too. Take note of that. Yeah.
Yeah, I really liked the order.
I don't even remember what they're stealing us information. Right? Yeah.
I really like the order of information got presented in this arc, because early on you see their fight with the Protectorate and Dragon, right? And Taylor uses this sort of lie, essentially, to stop Dragon from moving. And when you're reading it, you go, "Oh, did Dragon really fall for that?" And then later you find out she's an AI who's programmed to be unable to hurt people. So once the scenario was presented to her that if she moved, she could hurt somebody, her programming forced her to stop. So whether or not she believed it was true, it didn't matter.
Yeah, it's so cool.
Which was cool. I liked that.
Yeah. It's so fun because, Tanner doesn't know that about her.
No one does. Well,
so
a couple of people do, but no one does.
Yeah, it was super exciting and interesting. My dad, I was a big gamble on, what she would see as the morality of Dragon. And so she thinks big of Dragon's morality there, and it's funny because Dragon probably wouldn't pursue them anyway if she physically could. But, that's another thing for Dragon's story. There is is it better that she let them go, or would it be better if she caught them and stuff? If she did, would she have hurt them and killed them? And what would that say about herself as a person? She has all these new thoughts to think about when it comes to this, and it's kind of great. So good. I love it.
Yeah. Dragon's pretty fucking dope. Love her to death.
Yeah.
There is
yeah, it's great.
Something of a moral argument that comes up later, which is interesting. Because the story likes to touch on a lot of subjects, right? And a subject it touches on later is whether or not having an artificial intelligence overlord is a good thing or a bad thing. Is still considered a bad thing if they understand humanity on a level deep enough to emulate them, truly, and also is purely benevolent. Which I found to be interesting when basically
here's
everybody...
the thing.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so here's the thing. All right? We have, among humanity and stuff, people who think that Iran, which has, a huge 6,000-year-old culture, deserved to have been taken over by Islam 47 years ago and put under a regime that's killed over 2,000 people within the span of a weekend. There's people who think that's okay. And I don't. And that's just people in charge of people. If something is truly thinking benevolently and trying its best to be benevolent, that's better than a lot of people who are in charge to this day. You know, there's like the people who took over Venezuela and prevented, anyone from voting and forced those who were voted into presidency to leave the country or be killed. There's all of that, and who have starved people, tortured people, broke them for fun, and raped them and done all this other horrible stuff, and forced billions of dollars out of the country and given it away to narco-terrorists and stored it away in other countries. Literally naming a gold mine after a criminal in another place and sending all of its gold to them rather than to anyone in the country. That's just people who are slightly bad because they can get worse, in charge of countries. So I think it doesn't matter if a human or a robot or a fucking cow is in charge of a nation. What matters is it actively trying to do good for its citizens? And is it even close to succeeding? Are people starving? Are kids dying? Is it siphoning resources out to make the people there suffer? Or is it actually doing good, promoting them to live together and get along? If the second thing is happening, you're doing good. That's it. Doesn't matter where it's coming from. Good is good. That's that. Simple enough. Like, I don't care if America comes in with imperialism, pew, 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 and takes over a regime that's been slaughtering people and forcing them into poverty. It's better to have that stupid, crazy imperialist American come in and say, yo, here's a Taco Bell, than it is to starve to death. So, who fucking cares? Good is good.
I don't know, man. I don't know.
Like, you make all the moral arguments you want, but good is good.
Starve to death? I don't know. I think I might choose starving to death. That's just me personally. I think you'll be pleased to know.
And that can be your choice if America takes over.
We will defend your right to starve to death in the streets, if that's what you truly want.
Or Taco Bell.
Yeah, no, there is.
If you want to do that, you can. Instead of it being forced on you. Yeah, that's a difference.
Yeah, so there's obviously like a thing that comes up later where like there is a sort of argument from one side about anti-AI overlords, and then on the other side you have like Dragon, right? And in most media, when this argument comes up, you see like a pretty straight 50-50 split. For some reason, Wildbow did such a good job of writing Dragon that it's like a 95% 5% split in favor of Dragon. And he did such a good job of making them a person, while still feeling like an AI.
There's this concept in Apocrypha that you come across which comes across the Magi and where they come from, and everything connected to them, and like the whole purpose they exist for, which is essentially to train and choose noble lions, is like the whole thing. And they teach them the proper magic of the world, like prayer and all these other things, and what it does, and when to use it, and how it's supposed to work, and all that other stuff. Like, that's what they're for. And when you look deep into the Magi, you have literal giants being those who initiated it and began it and are there at its deepest roots. Which, that's not human. But again, in the Apocrypha, when you look into them, there's these giants whose whole thing was to train leaders of mankind to properly lead men. And they create the organization, the Magi, as part of that. And that's what they do, is go and teach people how to be proper, real leaders who promote benevolence and what the world should be like, and what prosperity actually is instead of slavery and stuff. So there's that concept even there of something inhuman helping humans lead properly, and what we've seen with our freaking AI overlord in this book who is a kindred, by the way. We see them leading, but inside of the place, there's people who have their own organizations and stuff and things, and it's not like Dragon goes in there and like, all right, I'm gonna electrocute the fuck out of the leader of this place here. Now you tell everyone they need to eat less potatoes this week. I have to sell 15% of that to some other random country to build a profit for myself to then sell drugs in Nicaragua. You know, none of that's happening. So it's very interesting. And again, since I went through all this stuff, I do not mind something inhuman leading humans if it's actively promoting humanity and humanity's actual betterment. But knowing if it's actually doing that when it's inhuman is a lot harder. So investigating that is an interesting thing. How do you investigate that and ensure that's the case? That's where you have legal argument when it comes up to me.
I've caught you, you dirty VTuber.
How so? What'd I do?
I knew it. But well,
You what?
You're with the AI overlords, like all VTubers secretly trying to get us used to it. That's what's going on.
Oh yeah, no. I do not want an LLM running a country. It's not enough. I'd rather a character from Half-Life 2. You know. Give me Dr. Coomer from Half-Life 2 to run the nation. They'll do a better job than a fucking LLM.
I'm pretty sure that cat that's the mayor of that one town up somewhere. It would be a better choice.
But yeah, exactly. You hate it,
town was that?
Yes.
It's not Ptarmigan, is it? I don't remember.
Oh my god.
One of them.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't ptarmigan, surprisingly, or chicken. Let's see here. It's Mayor Tubbs.
Fun fact. When polled, no child that lived in Ptarmigan could spell the word ptarmigan.
Stubbs. Yes. Talkeetna. Talkeetna. No, it's Mayor Stubbs of Talkeetna. Yeah.
Man, I need to stop going. I mean,
I think Stubbs has passed away though. But yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that was a long time ago.
Yeah.
But yeah, for those of you who didn't know,
2017 was when they passed away.
Yeah, there was an actual town in Alaska, not far from where I live, whose mayor was an actual cat. That was the thing.
Yep.
And to be honest, I still prefer that over Anchorage by a vast margin.
Oh, dude, yeah, like. The only thing that ever went wrong in Talkeetna when I was there was some dude got mauled. Like, there's not a lot of problems in Talkeetna.
No.
That's okay.
A lot of problems that happen in Talkeetna are people from outside Talkeetna coming to Talkeetna and doing something stupid.
Yeah, yeah. That's true. Well, count me on that list, probably. At least back when I was younger, huh? Woof.
Yeah, fair enough.
I was the problem. And here, so like when I was in Seward, I was the problem. I'm gonna be real. But, yeah. I love Seward, by the way. It's so nice, but I can never live there. It's too kind, too nice. I know I'd be the town's local, like, crime lord automatically by default. You know, not that I would try to be, it's just what would happen. Because it's like, hey, you know bad things. What do you think about this? I would just wind up naturally being it. They're so kind there. Oh my god.
Fucking shifty looking motherfucker.
Oh my goodness. Oh, right. It's such compared to that. But yeah, I love Seward. It's great. Definitely go to the Sea Life Center. If you ever get to visit any of the salmon hatcheries or anything there and stuff, it's worth it to go. The whole place is super nice, super kind. I had no problems there whatsoever. with anyone except for the fact me causing problems by being me and being there. And, you know, I wasn't quite a good person yet. I was on the road to becoming one. Yeah. So it's great. Love it. I could spend all day in the Sea Life Center for like a week. No problems.
Yeah. There's literally a like a
Yeah, so let's see here. Anything
common
else?
uh
Go ahead, go ahead.
man, I was gonna say like a common like uh what are they called in school where you go somewhere? Um it's the word in my
Field trip,
stuck in my
field
head is
trip.
recess, but it's not recess. Huh? Field trip, yeah. A common field
Yeah,
trip
it's a
in
field
a
trip,
lot of
right? Yeah.
yeah. A very common destination for those around here is an overnight stay at the Sea Life Center where you actually just go there and sleep there overnight, which is
Yes.
it's
Oh,
so
I got to
cool.
be in the Sea
That
Life
place is
Center and
awesome.
sleep there overnight.
Yeah, I did
It
that
was
too.
so cool.
I
It was so
I
cool.
barely went to actual school and I got to
Yeah,
do
it's
that.
so
That
worth it.
shit's fucking fire. It was so cool.
Yeah.
It's so cool. Anyway.
It's so funny. We had me and one of the Perrys there, and like we were still kids and whatnot, but like, man, we were half lethal against each other, even while there. Man, my God, that's how deep their hatred runs. But we managed not to get thrown out or kicked out or sent home early or anything like that. And we were both on opposite ends of the place when we went to sleep and whatnot, because we couldn't trust the other one not to kill the other in his sleep. Which again, we're still just kids at that time. But if these Anchorage kids, and you know, like there's a few other problems and stuff too, but we were all able to get through it. You were able to sleep there and have it. It's a memory that is magical and like it's in my head. It's so amazing. I
Yeah. Your
remember
experience is very different from mine. But
sculpting
yeah.
clay seals from when I was there because it was so fun. And the seals, they're all of them were super active when we were there the whole time. We were always out the windows. You could see and hear the seals as they're doing stuff. I love the seals, man. All the different kinds of seals there too. That was so nice.
Um
And all, you know, it's all
you
the
know
stuff you get to
the
touch and everything. But like, I've been back to Seward a few times, and I love it. It's just as magical.
you remember the big room with all like the huge like glass panes with the aquariums behind them that had the um horseshoe
Yes.
shaped like table that you could like read that had the urchins and the jellyfish or the or like the starfish and stuff in it that you could touch.
Yes. Yes. Oh, you can touch them and stuff.
Those
Yeah.
yeah those
Yeah.
like those wall like those glass wall like those aquariums glowed blue at night, and that is the room I slept in because that shit was awesome. So cool.
Oh, that's so cool. We were down in the like fully round topped room where you could see inside the aquariums, you know, and it had like the bathroom to the side and
Yeah,
like
yeah,
the hallway
yeah, yeah,
leading
yeah.
into it. That's where we wound up sleeping. Yeah. You know, so it was so beautiful, such a wonderful experience. And you know, being there at night, I only got to do that one other time. And that's so gorgeous, man. Like, if that doesn't inspire you and get you drawing and writing and stuff, nothing will. But yeah,
Yep.
that's such a
If,
wonderful
if any of you
experience.
ever end up in Alaska and you want, I could recommend 1,000 places. Most of them are outside. But if you're going to go inside somewhere, number one place you need to go is the Seward Sea Life Center. That shit's the best. It's great. The only place I've
100%.
been
You gotta go. And if you
that's
want to understand, oh man, it's so good.
the only place I've been to that's comparable
Hey, go on.
is there was a huge aquarium in Sydney, Australia, that had like one of those long glass tunnels underneath it. and that was a fraction of the size. It was like not even close. Um, so I mean, it was really really cool, and I recommend that. It's like sure it doesn't have like the tunnels, but the Student Skylight Center is gigantic, and it's got a ton of shit in it.
Go. Yeah, my recommendation: if you want to go to Alaska and you're interested in water and sea life stuff, go to Seward. Go to the Sea Life Center. Maybe do a halibut fishing thing if you're really into fishing in high winds and, you know, like dark water where you can't see what's going on in the water, but you like fishing in those conditions, or you want to try it out and say you did it. Go do all that. Do a trip to Seward. Have a great time. On the way there and back, if you go certain routes, and there's a lot of gold mines and other mines and stuff there, so you could like do the Seward trip thing, go hit a mine, after you like let them know and get the information, so plan your trip. And you can go there and they can get you some of the, the pay dirt thing and do it there or whatever and stuff, and do a little tour maybe. There's a lot of fun things to do as a family or as just an individual person who really wants the experience of that. That's great.
If you're
the best thing about Anchorage, if you go to Anchorage, the best thing about it is the food scene.
Oh yeah. It's the only good thing as far as I'm concerned. I guess it's near the ocean. That's kind of cool, but I wouldn't stay in the Captain Cook Hotel. Yeah. If you're lost in your life and you're looking for,
and a lot of the trains start in Anchorage, so a lot of those train rides are cool, especially during October.
Yeah.
Like they have like murder mysteries and all of the stuff on the train rides. That stuff's fun. All the events they do is great. Basic tour is not as fun as the event tours. Those are great.
Okay, so that area down in that divot that has the train station in it, that area is actually kind of sick. That's the best part of Anchorage down there, because like across the street from the train station is that big flat area where they do the snow or the ice carvings and the snow carvings, like over the winter.
Yeah, it's super cool.
That's always really cool. Anyway, man, we're real deep in the weeds again. Right.
So off track.
Yeah. On a lighter topic.
I love the weeds, but.
Oh yeah, I mean, we should probably wrap up at some point. We've now been going for 5 hours, I think. Yep. All right.
Yeah, probably.
So on a lighter note.
Yeah.
The Slaughterhouse 9. What do you have any ideas or theories about those?
The Slaughterhouse 9. Well, like I said, I feel they're very, they're very Dave and Marty coded, except not as fun. So I think what we're going to see from them, we already have it sort of implied as this, apocalyptic event through Jack from there, or rather reaching it fast. So my theories about them so far is they're what I thought the Endbringers were gonna be. That's these guys. Yeah. Where I said that there's these, like, if people in Anchorage had superpowers, who and what they'd become. Yeah, that's these guys. They're lethal, they're dangerous, they're scary. They're going to move up the time scale to the apocalypse, and they'll be happy doing it. Because, their goal is killing and slaughtering and making a point of it and putting it in people's faces, saying, we can do this. You weren't able to stop us. We're going to do it again, and we're going to do it worse next time. That's just the thing they do. So, that's my thoughts on them. And I think they have a connection to someone. I almost forgot about this. I have a theory that someone is about to return. The legend, the one, the only, Oni Lee, baby! Oni Lee is coming back. And I believe he is connected to the Slaughterhouse Nine. I think he may have been a member, and that's why he left and never took official charge of the ABB, even though he was leading them to do things. I think he's connected to these guys, and this town was his escape. You know, joining up the ABB was his way out of being with those guys and finding his new place, hiding down and taking on this new way of being and stuff, you know? So that's what I think's happening here. And I think that through him, because he doesn't want to be part of the Slaughterhouse Nine, we saw the Travelers were investigating it. So I think through him and the Travelers will have some communication there, and that'll lead up to collecting the information about the Slaughterhouse Nine that will then reach people who do something about it, like Taylor and the gang. You know, that's my theory there. Yeah.
Interesting
That's
theory.
a super fun theory.
Yeah. Do you want to play?
Only Lee's coming back, baby. I can feel it.
I'll never get tired of this. Do you want to play a little game? I've got an idea.
Sure, let's do game.
So the game will be, I will give you the name of a character who is in the Slaughterhouse Nine, and you tell me roughly how dangerous you think they are and a general idea of what their powers might be.
Oh, okay. Let's do it.
All right, we're gonna start with the one you know, Jack Slash. How dangerous do you think he is, and what do you think his power might be?
So, I think that he is, how do I say, a linchpin in plans or actions, right? Because they said something about him being able to like cut through stuff or something. His ability seems pretty weak by the way they know it or what little they've said about it. It sounds like he just takes a blade and cuts things, but can cut like anything or cut them like there was something simple like that. But, or like he can cut things and wherever he looks at, he can cut something like that. That's something simple. So I think why his name is Jack is because he is this, not quite pawn, but like almost like a knight, not quite, of the greater forces of destruction here. You know, that he's like, you know, like a Jack in a card deck, you know, for being like in certain games and certain things, it's incredibly useful and get some shit done that you couldn't expect to happen. You know, like that is the winning card and used correctly. You know, so I think he's filling that kind of role where he's gonna do that. I think on the actual like personable scariness or danger level, he is like a solid 6.5. But if you know what you're doing or you're expecting him, like you could counter him pretty easily by understanding what he is or does. But if you don't know, you're fucked. You know, like if someone's walking down the street, and they can just, you know, swing their arm and that cuts your throat because it counts as being right next to you. What's your fucking counter to that? If you don't know the guy, you're not prepped for it. You're done. You're just dead. You know, but if you know the guy, you can do something to protect yourself. So that's what I think is going on with him, is something along those lines where it itself seems pretty simple, but it can ramp up or be used in such ways as to do some crazy shit. Like, if he can cut where he can see, but right now it's Manton limited, so it has to be through his eyes, you know, then that's a current limit that keeps him sort of like, well, he could kill a whole crowd if he could see the crowd. But now imagine if he manages to break the Manton limit, and now where he's able to cut is anywhere he can see, even if it's on display. You know, suddenly presidential, you know, speeches and whatnot are open. He could get them from anywhere in the world. You know, all sorts of horrors and things that could be done just with that. So I think he's gonna be something along those lines. Yeah.
Okay. I like the analysis. All right. Next name,
It's like Jack Slash. It makes sense.
Shatterbird.
Shatterbird?
Shatterbird.
Woof. Burr? What?
Oh, shatter as in
Er.
like shatter, and then bird as in the thing with wings.
Oh, bird. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shatterbird.
Okay.
No.
So, theirs could be a really simple power. I think theirs could be something like just flying, but it doesn't change to accommodate their physiology. So they just move really fast, and it's just creating sonic blasts as they're going through a place, like boom, 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 boom. You know, literally sending a sonic-powered jet that's not prepared for keeps making sonic blasts through a city could kill a bunch of people, easily. So it might have something like that. Or they're able to fly and then sort of maybe even by vibrating, like they can change their vibration scale so they're like floating and stuff, whatever. And maybe that, once it applies to objects or people or things, or say they sing and get those different vibrations out, that causes things to break down. It's like hit that certain vibration where they start to break and shatter, That's my assumption there. Yeah. I think they're probably a solid 8 or so, because I think their ability to reach you or make their power go further, that they might not need line of sight or anything like that to get you with it, and that it would break you down to where anyone else could get you. But whatever it is, if you can find them and reach them, could be easy to prevent. Like maybe, even slapping them out of concentration might be able to knock them out of what they're doing. But when they've set up the game field for themselves, you're boned. That's how I think they're going to be. And that they can escape pretty easily, because I think they can fly, because they have bird in their name.
That's a fair assumption. I love that analysis. Next name, Bonesaw.
Oof. Yeah. Oof. Oof, that's gonna be something.
Yeah.
That one
These
I
are
think
not
is probably
nice
gonna be
people.
very literal. Yeah. Yeah. Sorry, just remembering few things. Anyways, yeah, I think they might literally just be able to cut through bone, possibly just by like touching, coming into contact with something that has bone, and they can almost like snap it, but it'd actually be like cutting it and breaking it. So, from an outside perspective, you might think they're snapping bones, but they're really sawing into them with what they're doing. And maybe it'll be kind of like a jellyfish where they touch it and little things extend out into you, and then it might either be like full like control over bones, or infecting it with a like venom that reaches into the bones, and then they can, while they're still connected to you or something like that, affect and control them. And maybe what they do is just make it saw and break down. They might even use your own like being born red blood cells or whatnot to break apart the bone from the inside out. They could be doing a lot of messed up stuff, but I think it's going to directly include breaking your bones and sawing through them. And I think somehow for me, I feel that physical touch might be an important factor for them. Yeah, I rate them as like a 5, because I feel if they get you, you're boned. But them getting you is the hard part. And that's what they're going to set themselves up really good to do. Because a normal person, they can fit into a crowd and get a hold of anybody. But maybe once they've got that venom in you, no matter where you go, they can still get you because they've got it in you or something. So that's what I'm thinking. Something like that, where, yeah, they have to play their
Okay.
game and set themselves up right. And if you do so, you're fucked.
Okay.
Okay. And who's next?
Next name, Hatchet Face.
Okay. Yeah, I think there's a few ways to interpret this. So it could be quite literal where they have a hatchet for a face and they cut people up with their face. You know,
Chainsaw Man
could
style.
be. Or it could be that what they do is cut up people's faces. Like that's what they're focused on. Like that they're so primitive and base that they target the face first, kind of like what Taylor did, you know? Where, yeah, that's their target, you know? And so they hatchet and cut up and tear apart your face, or even
Hmm.
there is an interesting way this could go. So it could be that they are sort of two-faced, where they come off very friendly and personable, and like they make agreements or settle arguments between people who they encounter and stuff like that. And then they get in close, and when people have trusted them and stuff, they reveal their true face and tear them away and tear them apart. You know, it could be like a play on, you know, like burying the hatchet. You know, like they do this thing where they look for reconciliation, or they fake reconciliation, or they find people who won't get along and then they bring them together and then they tear them apart. So when it comes to like gangs and stuff like that, or crews, the terms could be related to other things. Like you might be called, you know, Baseball Rick because you had a baseball game once and you didn't have a baseball where everyone else did, so everyone knows you as Baseball Rick now. So you're always Baseball Rick, you know? So the name Hatchet could be something like that, like Hatchet Face, or it could be literal. Hey, it's one or the other. It's either, you know, or you possibly even both. Like literally when they decide it's time to tear you apart and stuff, they literally, the hatchet comes out of their face and they cut you to pieces. Or, you know, their face becomes a blade or whatever, you know, or a bunch of different blades that extend out from their head and cut things up and whatnot, you know, like that could be a thing. Or for all I know, like they have a blade that comes out of their head that they control that, you know, cuts people apart and stuff. Don't know yet. I'm super interested in seeing the way they function and work. But yeah, that's my thoughts on them.
Okay. Interesting. Marriage counselor plus ex-member. Right. Right. Next on the list, what do you think of the name mannequin?
Yes. I don't like that. I don't want to deal with that one. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. There are she's in Okay, so yeah, there's quite a few ways that could be. There's the possibility that they dress themselves up, or even that they could be like a shard of SW, and like take skin from people or stuff and make themselves up, doll themselves up to look like someone you know, like a victim of theirs they've taken and done horrible things to. I'll leave it at that. And then that they enter into your life, learn things. It could be like the resource management of their team, like how they gather information on the city without actively doing things. Or they could take the place of your daughter, you know, and then when they're done, they either show you what they've done, you know, like the maybe they made a doll out of the pieces of your daughter that they've slowly replaced and moved out and stuff there, you know, and now they show it to you. Or even their power could go much further, and they then, you know, sick this doll as made out of people onto the family to kill them. You know, that's just one conservative way I'm thinking about that they could be. Oh boy. They could do a lot worse. There's definitely a lot more roads this could go down. Woof. I don't like them already. I don't like the idea of them. I want them gone.
Yeah.
That one's gotta go.
Hmm.
I don't like that. I don't like that. That one's no.
Okay.
Anyhow,
How
there's a
dangerous do
few
you
other
think
ways
they
it
are?
could be. It could be someone. I would rate them a 9. I'd rate that one a 9.
Hmm. Okay.
Yeah, like if they've been around this long doing this stuff and they have a name like that, what I think they're capable of and doing, I think they're really good at making you think it. Like, I think they're really good at getting past people's awareness, which is
Hmm.
a very scary thing to be for someone to
Yeah.
be able to do. Like, and that's what I think will
Okay.
make them dangerous. Because if you don't, no, it's like, like say you're watching a horror movie and one of the guys, there's an evil murderous werewolf dude and whatnot, but he's been hanging with his buddies all day and stuff. So they don't know he's in the house with them and stuff. And they all lock the door because the bad guy's outside and whatnot. When really he's there in the middle of everybody. And you know it. Like, that's how I feel about Mannequin. That's super dangerous because it doesn't matter for it's the werewolf's outside, whatever. Well, what's it gonna do? It has to get in here. But if it's in the room with everybody and you don't know who it is yet, yeah, you all could be fucked. And that's what I think Mannequin is and does.
Next one on our list is Burn Scar.
Burn Sky. Yeah, I'm pretty sure they burn things.
Fair enough.
Yeah. Pretty sure their
That's a pretty
power
obvious one.
relates to fire or burning or boiling, and I think they don't kill their victims, at least as part of their plan. They might scar and torture and burn someone. Maybe they kill an entire family, but leave one burned or faceless, as a way of showcasing that, haha, I did this, kind of thing. Or maybe it's a small burn scar, like maybe even just their name or something onto the person who they let survive everything else. Maybe they take a mother and they, burn all their kids to death in front of them and stuff like that. And then, carve each of their names into the mother with like a burning finger or something. I sort of feel they're like that. I'd give them like a solid 6.5 on the danger scale because I feel they're more open about what they do if they're doing that. But I think it means that they're prepared for more open fights, you know? So yeah, I'm thinking like a 6.5. Like they're really dangerous if they can get you. But say dealing with a guy with a flamethrower, if you don't get caught or kidnapped or taken by him or his crew, you're gonna be fine, Like you can more outrun a guy with a flamethrower than you can a guy with a machine gun. And so that's what I think is about 6.5.
We have two left to go. Because the Slaughterhouse 9 currently has 8 members, so there's 2 left. The second to last one I've
Oh
got for
shit!
you
So they
is
might actually be
Crawler.
looking for owning Lee. My theory is so good. Trawler. Ugh. Ugh.
Crawler, yeah.
Ugh. Yeah. Okay. Water related. I think he definitely takes the bodies to the water. Maybe he's got something fucked. Like maybe he's a Trump. Like what if he's like a Trump who can prevent people from drowning? Like he gives them the ability to breathe on the water and stuff, right? So he does this and he pulls them to a deep depths, and then leaves them when they can't tell which way is up. And so sort of just watches as they try to escape. And then eventually his power starts to wear off and the pressure starts to get to them and the air starts to come out of their lungs and stuff. And eventually they either pop or drown and, or burst in on themselves. And he's there watching to see which it'll be. Yeah. So either that or he's like an anglerfish and he sets up the trap to bring people in. Like, it's one or the other. And I think if he's the drowner type, he's more like a 4.5. But if he's the lure people's in kind, I would say he's probably more like a 7.5 to an 8. Because the way it's structured is different. Like if he's a trawler, he's trying for one-on-one people. But if he's like angler fishing, he might be going and setting things up for the rest of his crew.
I was so confused. You misheard me. I was like, why are we talking about water?
I did?
And you kind of just kept going, oh yeah, no, his name is Crawler.
I heard trawler, T-R-A-W?
No, it's just with a
Oh, crawler with a C. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
I
then
like that other
he's
thing,
like,
though.
yeah, I'm gonna say he's a 4 then. I assume he like crawls and sneaks into places that are really small for him to get into, and then does horrible shit like, goes and, skins your baby in its crib and stuff like that, where you think it's all nice and safe, and then like puts up a whole thing on your wall. It's like, ha, lol, you couldn't save them. I was here all night. I even brought them to your room, lol. Like that.
Oh, man. I cannot wait for you to read this upcoming arc. Wow. All right. Okay. I got one last thing for you, and I saved them for last, deliberately. Last name, the Siberian.
Okay. This one cuts you up. Definitely. But I don't think that's what their power is. I think that maybe their, it could be frost-based, or even something that appears that way, like maybe they paralyze people, and then break them piece by piece, maybe ripping, nails off and then skinning the finger and then snapping the muscles out before breaking the bone and lifting it off, like bit by bit. I think they're very surgical with their attacks. I think they have a very solid body that's been trained for combat. Like the people who've broken their arms over and over again, where they like smack it against steel until it breaks, and they keep that as part of their training regimen kind of thing, until the bones are so different that, if you hit them with like a metal bat, it's not affecting their bones. I feel he's done that with his body. And I feel like his power, whatever it is not the most intense thing about him. It's going to be his training of what he's done to prepare himself for what he's doing. That's my thing. Like, he could have any power. He could like shoot ice beams out of his head. It doesn't matter. That's not what makes him dangerous. It's that he's prepared his body for all these different things he's doing, and his mind is clear that this is what he should be doing. There's not a ounce of regret or thought process that goes, well, this wasn't set up perfectly, so therefore it's not good enough. There's none of that when it comes to him. He's going to be very, like, I'm here, I'm doing my work, and I'm going to do my work, what I do, and it's going to get done, and it's going to be beautiful. No matter where I am, no matter the conditions, that's how it's going to be.
We'll have to correct you.
I would rate him as like an 8 point. Yeah.
They are definitely female.
Oh, right. I still think the same thing about them.
Fair enough.
Now they're feminine. Okay. The one other way it could be is if they come off sort of like a Russian spy kind of thing and whatnot, but I don't think that's sort of the way this is going with this group. They don't seem subtle. So, no. I'm expecting a powerhouse here, like the people who I would see go up to a Walmart, see the metal, like, wall and just punch their way through it to go steal a
Mhm.
fucking set of headphones. Like,
Okay.
they're like that. This is not someone you're getting in the way of.
Awesome. I love that. I
Yeah,
love that.
that's
All right. Right. Well, that's all I pretty much have for you today. I think this episode has probably gone on long enough.
all right. Well, this, yeah. In fact, it might be split into like parts based off how long this is taking. I know
Yeah.
this episode or episode set has been full of side tangents and stuff, but we love it. Hope you love it.
Yeah.
Yay!
Yeah. Our original plan was
So,
to make.
I guess
Arc
we should
10
do our
its
goodbye
own
stuff.
episode. But I guess we forgot about that. So, oh well.
Yeah. We did,
Yep,
didn't we?
5.5 hours.
I still might be just because of stuff, but that would be editing.
Yeah.
Yep. Outro time?
Now it's your time.
Yeah, outro time. Alright, bye-bye, friendos. Bye-bye, toodaloo, chow mein noodles. Bye-bye. Have a very good night. Bye-bye now. Bye.
Have a good night, and don't let Crawler in your window.
Look. Okay, yeah. Heyo Friendos. Thank you for watching the video with us. This has been Arc 10 of Parahumans. It's a me, Berry Goldheart. I just want to say thank you for joining us. I feel like we've gotten 10 arcs, and it's a really big milestone for us. We're going far, and we're going to keep going. We've had a lot to say so far, a lot to theorize on, and I did have a few extra things. So when Fallen and I were talking, we do a little bit more after the videos and stuff, of course. That's just the way we do. But I have a note here. We said, oh, I believe I went to the wrong note. Here it is. Okay, so, right. I did have a final set of theories about a character called Crawler. So I stated what I did, but I also believe there is another way it could go. Two, actually. And, I told Fallen this, but it didn't make it into the video because it was after we stopped recording. So I felt that Crawler could have been like a Cenobite, like the dog from the Cenobites, like a Pinhead, all those sorts of things, where it's like someone who's turned themselves to such a debased, monstrous being, they're not even human anymore. They look more like a dog monster, and they're like a little larger and built up and stuff, and they've like basically vicissituted themselves or had it done to them to where they're no longer human, and thus just known as the Crawler. The other way I was looking at it was that they might be like a Crawler from a war simulation game, which is basically like a big tank that usually has like the head and limbs like near the bottom, and then the attacking parts near the top. And it's sort of like this big structure, almost like a beetle, but with a bigger top. So it could be something like that, where it's almost like a vased or something along those lines. So, since those were theories that are important to what I'm thinking moving forward, I figured I should state them for y'all so you have them. There's nothing missing from the video. All of the thoughts we had on Chapter 10 are there. You can, check into the comments and be like, I think something like this or that, or you didn't think about this possibility, all that good stuff. We love to hear from you, friendos. It's been great. Thank you for joining us. We definitely have more Worm content to come, but this has felt like the milestone of making it into here. We made it double digits. I really appreciate you joining us, listening in, leaving likes, leaving comments, and checking in with us. We love you, friendos. I love you, friendos. Thank you so much for joining us, and I'll see you on the next one. For now, have a very good night and stay safe out there. Good night. Toodaloo. shopping noodles. Oh, these are the goodbye things. Bye-bye now. Bye. Toodaloo. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Wow. This is a... No.